Hi everyone, welcome back to Chloe Morello. Today I'm going to do an updated eyebrow routine. So this is how I do my eyebrows every day. I shade my eyebrows in. This is them naturally without any colouring in them. So I'll probably do a shaping tutorial at some point. I just don't have any thread with me where I live, so I'll have to go buy some. But I'm going to show you how I shade it in with just a brown eyeshadow. All you need is a colour that is, if you're a brunette, you should go like a few shades lighter than your hair colour. So as you can see, my hair is dark brown and I've gone this lighter brown. If you've got blonde hair, I think that you should use a colour that's a little bit darker than your hair. And I like to use this synthetic angled brush. This one's bent a little bit funny, but as long as it's pretty fine. This brush is by Cala and I just got it from Australian supermarket type stores like, well, not supermarket stores, sorry, stores like Priceline and Big W and Kmart and things. So I'll show you how I do it. Now I'm going to be referring to my eyebrow as the head, and the head of the eyebrow is the thickest part down here. The body is this part that starts tapering towards the arch. So we've got the head, then the body, and then this little bit here is the tail. I mean, that's just the way I'm going to use it to explain. So what I do is I just tap my brush into the shadow. Probably start with a small amount of product and then work on. What I like to do is to make sure that my eyebrows are even firstly, because they're not quite even. This one's a little bit lower. I don't know how it happened, but so I have to even them out with the shadow. So I'm going to start at this brow because it always looks the best, and this is where I want to set the precedence for the other one. I always rest my pinky finger on my face when I'm using a brush, and as you can see I'm holding it like I'm holding a pencil, like I'd be writing, just a lot further up the brush. So I hold it a lot further up the brush so that I'm not going to be depositing too much colour at once. So I'm going to look down into a mirror. Now I've got a mirror right here, and I'm sitting on my bed, and that is sitting on a table. So it's best if you look down into a mirror and rest your hand on your face so that you've got a stable brush to use. Now I always start down here on the head, and I'm just going to use small feathery brush strokes to create a nice sharp line angling upwards. So I don't want my eyebrows to be straight in a line. I want them to go upwards at a nice angle to frame my eye. So I'm going to just start using tiny little strokes, and you're going to start to see my eyebrows taking shape. You can already see that. And I just re-dipped the brush there. I'm using such light strokes. You don't want a really dark line on your brows. You want to mimic the texture of the hairs by using the smaller brush strokes. And you can also make sure that the line is nice and straight then as well. And as I do that, I feather it down, and I'm shading upwards as well with the hairs, the direction of the hairs. So you can see what I've done there with that brow. I've pretty much worked on mostly the body at shading that in. And I've just stopped that at my natural arch because I've got a good natural arch, at least on this eye. Then what I would usually do is, this is just to make sure that I can end up doing them evenly. I mean, look at the difference. This one's a lot more full and it looks really good just as that even. So I'm going to try and mimic that with my other eye. And I need to bring this one up a little bit higher, personally. You might not need to. Now, if I hold that along there, you can see that my eyebrows are pretty even, at least that way along my face. You can see that this part's a little bit thinner here than the other one. I'm just going to work now on evening them up. And I'm going to, so I've been working with the brush horizontally. Sometimes I might turn it horizontally. Yeah, it's kind of horizontally at an angle so that I can draw a nice the head of it in just by using little strokes. So if you can see that, I'm just going like this, dragging it along that way. So this is really lightly because you don't want to put too much shadow on this inner part. In fact, I usually end up smudging it out with my finger. Now all that's left is the tail. They're looking pretty good to me. And for this you need to keep it really light as well. I'm going to start with this one, resting my pinky on there, on my cheek. I like to start under the, sort of on the brow bone there. And I just use really little small strokes. Like this. And you can see that here I've got a peak where my eyebrow peaks into the arch, and it's not too much of a high arch, so I don't look like, ugh, I don't look like that or anything, but it's just nice in line with my natural brow. And then keep the tail nice and fine. So not thin, like you want it to still be fairly thick. You don't want thick brow and then a tiny, like one long head, like one haired tail. You want it to look as natural as possible. Now this one here, I'm just going to look straight into a mirror now and just work on using small strokes to make sure that it's nice and even. And you know, I think it'll be very hard to ever get them fully even, but no one's eyebrows are going to be even. So you can only really do the best that you can. And I think the best way to do that is just work it little bit by little bit. And make sure that you don't put too much in there. You don't want to look like you've got tattooed eyebrows if you can help it. That's all there is to it. I think brows are really, really important to your overall look. For me, it's the absolute minimum I can have. I can sometimes now, I can go outside without foundation on these days, but I will not go without my eyebrows on. I just think that I feel like I look really scraggly without them, and I feel like my eyebrows are barely there. They definitely frame your eyes. Even if you don't have any eye makeup on, your eyes just look a lot better if your brows are done, and it just frames your entire face. So if you can perfect brows, all you need is a angle brush. This was $2 or $3, and a good matte coloured eyeshadow. Obviously a matte coloured eyeshadow that's either lighter than your hair colour if you're a brunette or you've got black hair, or a little bit darker than your hair if you've got probably red hair or blonde hair. So I hope that this tutorial has helped you. I get lots of questions and comments about my eyebrows, so it might be good for you guys to know how I do it. Please give me some requests for tutorials. I've got... Oh, it's my sister. What up? Sorry about that. So, yeah. I hope that everyone's enjoying my new channel. Please remember to give me some requests for videos. I want to do a how to do some perfect liquid liner. I've got a lot of really good tips that I've come up with recently that I'd love to show you guys. So I've got a good liquid liner video tutorial coming up. And yeah, I hope to hear from you guys soon. You can go like my Facebook if you want. I love talking to you guys and emailing you. It's still called Caramarello, so it's just facebook.com/Caramarello, and you can follow me on Twitter, which is just twitter.com/Chloe Morello. The links will all be below, as well as some of the products that I used. So I'll see you in the next video. Bye.